The Galactic Council Chamber was a cathedral of civilization. Marble floors mined from the moons of Quoras, 7, atmosphere-controlled domes shimmering with simulated starlight, and a central table carved from the bones of planet-killing leviathans slain in the era of Ascension. It was here that empires lived and died, that wars were avoided or ignited, and it was here, for the first time in 400 cycles, that every member of the core species sat in silence, not from reverence, but from fear. The transmission from Earth had been short. Brutally short, to the Council of Worlds. This is not a negotiation. Earth Command. Nothing more. No demands. No explanations. Just the unmistakable finality of a species that had moved beyond diplomacy. High Chancellor Trevik of the Cernii Confederation had lived through the extermination of the Zelver Dominion. He had sat across the table from the Hive Matron of Karazthal. He had once watched an entire star be swallowed to settle a debt. But this silence from the humans was worse. Surely, croaked Ambassador Cleeth of the Tharnak brood, surely they mean to negotiate in their own way, perhaps a cultural delay. They've negotiated before, murmured Representative Ileana of the Virial Collective, her eyes flickering between glowing data scrolls. The Terran Accord of Cycle 7010, the Trade Pact of Vega, 3, the Heli on disarmament. Counselor Vedrich of the Jerix Empire slammed his obsidian fist onto the table, cracking its edge. Those were different humans. This is Earth Command, their war faction, the one they built after the Siege of Sol, the one they unleashed after the Skreth tried to glass Mars. A soft gasp rippled through the room. Memories of that retaliation echoed like whispers in haunted halls. The Skreth Empire, once covering 3 sectors, now existed only in the margins of history textbooks, burned away by orbital tungsten rods and kinetic strikes delivered with clinical fury. No survivors. No rubble. Just glass. Trevik stood, robe swishing behind him. We need to understand. What did we do to prompt this message? The holograms of Council intelligence flickered to life, displaying footage. Human freighters intercepted near the Fractaline border. Pirates, perhaps, or unauthorized inspections by sovereign enforcers. Dozens of minor grievances. Yet Earth had filed no formal protest. No envoy had appeared. No warning. Just a message. This is not a negotiation. Had we attempted contact with their diplomatic corps? Someone asked. Gone dark, replied the Ilian Minister of Records. All channels rerouted to Earth Command. All embassies closed. All human personnel withdrawn from council stations. Panic erupted. Simultaneous translations overlapped as voices clashed across species. Activate peace envoys. Offer tribute. Recall our ships. Do not provoke them further. The only silent figure was a human observer, Captain Rhea Morgan. She stood at the back, not officially a delegate. Humans had rescinded their council seat 3 cycles ago, but still present under the old diplomatic grace rules. She had said nothing since the message arrived. No one dared approach her. Trevik turned to face her. Captain Morgan, please, help us understand. What does Earth want? She looked up, and for a moment, the galaxy seemed to freeze. You should have listened when we asked for restraint on the Outer Rim. You ignored the theft of civilian ships. You sanctioned human colonies without trial. You allowed the attack on the Arcadia convoy last week. Her voice was calm, controlled, but each word hit like a seismic tremor. You thought we were fractured, that we'd bicker in your chambers forever. She stepped forward, eyes cold. You were wrong. Cleese stammered, mandibles twitching. But we can fix this. We can issue reparations, offer resources. We don't want your reparations, Morgan said, and for the first time, she smiled. It was not a smile of peace. We want respect, and respect isn't requested. It's enforced. The chamber fell deathly silent again. Somewhere in deep space, Earth's war fleets had already begun to move. Hundreds of ships bearing the insignia of Earth Command. The twin swords over Cradle of Sol jumped from FTL nodes like arrows loose from an unseen bow. Their targets weren't random. Each one was calculated. Each one was earned. The Sovereignty Patrol fleet near Barnard's Loop, responsible for harassing civilian craft, vanished without trace Its final transmission, a scream cut short. On Other Station, the pirate lords who had proudly displayed Terran skulls were incinerated in a surgical railgun strike through 20 meters of rock and alloy. And on the edge of Council space, the Cernii secret outpost where human children were being held for xenocultural study was vaporized by a quantum detonation. Still, Earth said nothing more. They didn't need to. Council forces scrambled. Emergency meetings were held. Peace envoys launched, only to be turned back at the perimeters of Earth control zones. Automated messages warned, "This is a restricted theater. Leave or be neutralized." Trevik begged for an audience. Sent pleas wrapped in encryption, invoked ancient treaties. One message finally received a reply, 5 words more than the last. "You knew. You did nothing." Then came the footage. Human Marines breaching a slave compound on Drezl Prime. The rescuers were met with gunfire, but none fell. Their armor, sleek, black, humming with unseen power, turned energy bolts into light. Children were lifted from cages. The last surviving captor begged for mercy. He received none. In the council chamber, Rhea Morgan stood once more, summoned now not as a diplomat, but as a warning. Trevik was pale, even for his species, whose skin was already translucent. "We never sanctioned those atrocities. We didn't know. You knew," she repeated. "You all knew, because some of your corporations funded it, because you feared war more than you valued justice. So you buried the reports, ignored the signals, silenced your own watchdogs." A drone flew to her side, projecting a map of the galaxy. Red zones expanded like bloodstains. Earth's warpath was not chaotic. It was strategic, calculated, surgical. Only those who had harmed humanity or profited from its silence were targeted. "Then what is your goal?" Ileana whispered. "Do you mean to conquer us?" Morgan turned to her. "We don't need your territory or your wealth. Earth has what it needs. What we're doing is cleaning house. You'll destabilize everything." Vedrix roared. "This council was built on balance." Morgan stared at him. "Balance," she echoed. "The kind that lets slavers sit across from scholars? That lets pirates vote on trade sanctions? That ignored genocide so long as the credits flowed?" She stepped closer, and though unarmed, a dozen guards instinctively flinched. This isn't the collapse of order. It's the rebirth of it. At that moment, a message blared across every council terminal. A single headline, followed by footage from the outer systems. Earth fleet liberates 12 worlds in 8 hours. Minimal civilian casualties. Cheers echoed from liberated planets. Rebellion sparked in old slave colonies. Symbols of the council were burned, replaced with the silver-blue sigil of Earth's unified command. A new alliance was forming, not of dominance, but of reckoning. "You can join us," Morgan said, "or stay here and debate while the old order burns. But know this, Earth doesn't negotiate with monsters in silk robes." Then she turned and left, the chamber parting before her like waves before a storm. Trevik sat back in his chair, cold sweat dripping into his collar. Around him, the ancient council chamber shook not from external fire, but from within. Empires built on rot were crumbling, and across the stars, a human voice spoke once more, not from Earth, but from a flagship Vindicator, orbiting above the council's defense moon. "This is Admiral Cole of Earth Command." The message began. "To those who fear us, fear only your guilt. To those who stood with us, you are safe. And to those still plotting in shadows, we see you. We are coming. This galaxy has tolerated your corruption for too long." The signal cut. Silence returned. But in that silence, there was no peace. Only reckoning. Because Earth was done talking.